It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2.
Hello, dear listener. Welcome to UBC Ground Zero. We are broadcasting live on 98 FM, UBC Radio. We are also live and clear on our sister radio stations, UBC Western Nile FM, UBC Table, and Magic 100 FM. This is UBC, inspiring Uganda. This is a very beautiful day that the Lord has made, that we must be glad and rejoice in it. I welcome you on UBC Ground Zero of today's edition. Again, we're going to discuss important issues of national development, but also address people's concerns. I'm glad to have been joined by a special team of guests who are going to share their opinions and ideas about today's topic. And today we are talking about the NSSF midterm access or benefits. But I take this very opportunity to welcome our people from Koboko, Marachazombo, Ntoroko Mpondo, Bundubujo Kasese, people from Richiga Kisoro, Karangara, Namingo Bosia, Tororo, Budoda, Buko, Moroto, and Kitugum, Aregu, border to border. Welcome to UBC Ground Zero. All cities and big towns in Uganda, welcome to Ground Zero. Our people from Arua, Gulu, Mbale, Jinja, Kampala, Fort Porto city, tallest city. Our people from Masaka, our people from Barara. I will take this opportunity to welcome you on Ground Zero. It is a very big privilege and honor that I've been joined by Namirembe Agatha Arembe, who is the chairperson, Uganda Public Employees Union, and Mr. Mauku Moses is the General Secretary, Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets, Allied Workers Union, and we are talking about NSSF midterm benefits. We are looking at the implications on social protection of Ugandans. Welcome to UBC Ground Zero. Ampeire Amon Butega is my name. I'll give you some time to greet our dear listeners, starting with Agatha.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Namirembe Agatha Arembe. I'm the chairperson, Uganda Public Employees Union, and I also work with National Water and Sewage Corporation. I'm in charge of occupational health and safety in National Water and Sewage Corporation. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that I'm here to talk about the NSSF, National Social Security Fund, being that the people I represent have a key stake in that organization. We subscribe to NSSF, and a lot of our funds are in there, and many issues have been talked about. The people we represent have, from quite a long time, demanded for midterm access, and I'm happy to be here to on their behalf, to give them the views and also to let them know of the new developments that are in that area. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Mr. Moses?
A very good morning, listeners of UBC. Mauk Richard Moses is my name. and I'm the General Secretary Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union. I superintend of a union that is spread over the country, and we have membership everywhere in Uganda. And our members, like any other members, all workers in general, that contribute to NSSF. We greet you warmly and wish you a good program with us where we are discussing or sharing information on NSSF generally, but in particular, the midterm access and its benefits.
Most welcome to UBC Ground Zero, and our dear listener, you will join the conversation on 776-511-426. The number that you will call us on is 776-511-426. This is UBC Inspiring Uganda. Mauko, what do you mean by the combination of these, I call them the business union? I see hotels, I see supermarkets. How do you connect yet doing different business? Moses.
Please, thank you for that inquiry, and it gives me opportunity to explain what my union does. One is that trade unions or labor unions are registered by sector or trade, and that is why they are referred to as trade unions. So different trades or professions are organized under different unions. Like we have Uganda Medical Workers Union, it is a separate. Those are the medics. You also have a union dealing with or handling issues to do with plantation workers. You have Uganda public service employees. Then you have Uganda Hotels, Food. So our sectors are the ones that determine, and that is determined through registration. So we are registered as a union to pretend over or organize and represent a given sector of employees or workers. So when you have hotels, food processing, tourism, supermarket employees, and allied subsector, that brings in organizations like the golfers, who are not directly a hotel, but they do services similar in one or the other. Gaming, those are their so-called allied subsectors to the main subsectors under which we are registered. So basically, ours is a little bit more amorphous. I would say it is the biggest jurisdiction of employees or subsectors that bring together all those, and that is why even in short we are referred to as HTS Union, because the union name is so long. But that is the arrangement as per the jurisdiction under which we are registered as a union.
Okay.
Thank you.
Agatha, what is that known as a Uganda Public Employees Union? Who are the members? How do you fight your rights in as far as the NSSF is concerned? Agatha.
Thank you so much. Uganda Public Employees Union is a big union, an old union. It's as old as it started in 1963. And most of the unions, we have so many unions that have evolved from our union, Uganda Public Employees Union. This union draws its membership from government parastatal bodies and agencies. And at one time also government municipalities and town councils. This is where we draw our membership. And these parastatals, because they are government entities, most of our members are under public service structure, and that's what joins us together. We are service sector unions. It's a service sector union. The workers there serve the public, and we are mainly under the regulations of the government. So we are governed by the government rules, and also the other rules that come up in agencies, because some of the agencies are autonomous, others are semi-autonomous. So we represent that group of workers who give service to the union. And basically what we do is to make sure that the workers work in a conducive environment. Their terms and conditions of service are better and are improved on. And we defend our workers in case they get a problem. So we have that legal perspective to defend our workers' rights specifically in the job, and also to do a lot of education and training on the rights and on the laws that govern the workforce. Thank you.
Most welcome. This is UBC. We are live and clear on 98 FM and also live and clear on our sister radio stations, UBC Utebo, UBC Western Nile FM and Magical One on 100 FM. We are looking at the NSSF midterm benefits and looking at the implications on social protection of the people of Uganda. This is UBC Ground Zero. Mr. Mauku, you said that your union is the biggest. But looking at some of the members, like the hotels, do also members of the hotel, especially the waiters, the waitresses, benefiting from the NSSF?
Maybe let me begin from the point of correction. I said our union has the biggest coverage in terms of jurisdiction of members or member organizations. It may not necessarily be the biggest in terms of membership, but in terms of coverage in areas of jurisdiction, it is the biggest. We cover so many. I would respond by saying that every person employed, especially in the formal setting, where one person employs more than 5 persons, then those persons must be registered to contribute to NSSF. That is the requirement of the law. However, some people have continued to dodge by not making their employment terms formal. Otherwise, everybody who is employed under an organization that employs more than 5 people is supposed by law to become a subscribing member to NSSF. If it is not done by one employer, it is then his or her fault not to do that. However, most of these persons employed in the hotels, irrespective of the category, they subscribe to NSSF. Their 5% of their salary is deducted by the employer under statutory deductions, and the employer adds 10% to make it 15% that should go to the account of that particular employee. So an employee who is a member of NSSF is supposed to save 15% of what she earns as NSSF contribution on a monthly basis. I hope I've answered you clearly.
Yes. Thank you so much. Agatha, what is that you understand as NSSF? As you, the Uganda Public Employees Union.
Thank you so much. What I understand as, first and foremost, NSSF is a social protection. It's a fund where workers are supposed to save some money, which would help bring about some equality in our social aspect as workers, where a worker contributes 5% of his earning and an employer adds 10% of the earnings, and this is saved under a fund which is a mandatory fund for everyone who employs 5 people, more than 5 people. That's what the old law was saying before the amendment. Anyone who employs more than 5, it's mandatory by law. We have an act of NSSF Act that governs that. And this money under that act has specific benefits that are under it. And the under benefits are old age benefits. That's why people talk about the retirement. When you retire, this money, you can access this money when you retire. We have another benefit of survivor's benefit. If someone dies before accessing his NSSF, then that money is given to the survivors. Then we also have a disability benefit in case you get an injury. So those are some of the benefits that we have in the social protection. It's basically to see that as you leave formal employment, as you're not able again to go into employment or to be employed, there is some percentage of money that you have saved that will cushion you, especially in your old age. And also cushion you if you get a problem and you're disabled and you're not able to be employed anymore. And it also cushions the dependents that have been depending on you in case you die in employment. So basically that is what is all NSSF about. Yeah, thank you.
Most welcome. Moses,
Yes,
Ugandans, specifically workers, and those that would be the beneficiaries, are still confusing the NSSF and UBRA, Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority. Could you help Ugandans draw the line between the two? Moses?
Yes, please. I would begin by trying to slightly amplify what my sister presented to make ourselves understand National Social Security Fund. National Social Security Fund is a social protection fund for Uganda, like it is the case with all other countries in the world, especially those that are member countries to United Nations. And internationally, we have standards, protocols, or conventions that Uganda is party to, especially under ILO. And social protection is one of the conventions that were ratified by this country, and that is what brought to birth what we call National Social Security Fund in Uganda. This is a fund that is basically meant to assist the saver under social issues at old age. You save money when you are still working so that you can use this money after retirement. It is expected that after the retirement age, it is difficult for you to get a new job. If you would use this money that you saved while you are still youthful and strong to do your own business and give way for the younger people, including the children that we bear, to go and take over the very jobs we have been doing until retirement age. So this fund is very important and necessary in every community and in every economy and society. The reason we have different is to control how this fund is going to be best managed in the interest of those people who save. So the acts, I don't remember exactly which year it came, but in the 2000s, it wasn't there in the 90s. You know, there are so many interests. Others are individual, personal, and also government. So, seeing how or you is by the ones because of the acts developed over time, and this law created around the NSSF Act, and this law will ensure the operations of not only the NSSF, but even other social security fund schemes, like the provident schemes that are also allowable in law to be operated by individual organizations or companies, as long as the employees agree that they are going to put together money for future use under the provident fund in a given organization, then that scheme should be registered and also regulated by UBRA. UBRA is supposed to be an organization higher than NSSF, because NSSF is just one of those social security schemes. Like you have the provident funds, individual organizations. We had this scheme for the pensioners in Makerere University. They had their provident fund. We had, but all meant to be regulated by UBRA. We have that UBRA was cheating our money. A government body which is meant to regulate the social security schemes in Uganda again drew billions of money from NSSF for its own operations, and that was very, very wrong. Even in law,
which were some of those operations?
Because they have to pay for their staff as UBRA, they have to pay. They don't have a house. All the operational costs, administrative and others, they were instead drawing money. I think that law was actually defective, and that is why it has been collapsed in the recent past. For you are my supervisor, they to give you money to supervise me. And that's the practice. NSSF was giving, I don't remember whether it is about 3 billion.
0.02%
of the collections each month. So when we went to make computations, we found UBRA was free from NSSF to super NSSF, and that established UBRA. So government was duty bound to fund or facilitate its own agents, but not the one to facilitate a government to supervise our money. That was actually defective, and I want to thank the government that this time His Excellency the President pronounced that UBRA should never again access money from NSSF for its operations. Like my sister Agatha made mention of the law, this law was established during Amin's regime as a decree. 1973, formation of NSSF then by decree, and it has been here with us until is when that law has finally changed. Had evolved in the economy. We were still using Amin's laws to administer a fund that began with millions. It had gone to trillions, and still using a law of the 1970s. But because of the personal interests by the authority, they made it very difficult to review that law. But over the time, for me, I joined labor movement in the years of around 1998. There was a report which NOTO had compiled under the support by ILO, STG, and it made recommendations for the review of that law in 1998. It could not take effect because of different interests by different people that hold positions in government. And the reviews have been sought for all that time to no avail until this last year that we now have a new law. In the new law, we talk about midterm access. It's just an eye catcher, but we had very big strides achieved in the amendment of the NSSF Act. Very big strides which were achieved, only that this one was given a lot of capital because of the prevalence of COVID-19. And the law was being discussed at the time when COVID-19 had hit and very many employees had lost employment, and the political clout caught its eye on the issue of midterm because they wanted NSSF that time to disburse money without a law to the people who were suffering because of COVID-19. However, for us, even earlier, before the COVID-19, as trade union leaders, we had actually put our position clear that we wanted NSSF to change. Mainly was the NSSF to shift from the Ministry of Finance to its mother ministry, which the ministry that is responsible for social protection in Uganda, and that is gender, labor, and social development. And when we achieved that, to the trade union people, the people that understand social protection, it was the biggest achievement. Because people in finance do not adequately comprehend matters to do with social protection. And they were the ones who were given the obligation, duty, and the role to administer a social protection fund. It was also illicit, though it was there for some time, and it was because of the past experiences that we went through. The other remarkable achievement was the stoppage of UBRA from accessing our monies. Those monies just being lost to a government agency to do duty, which we as members of the NSSF had not asked it to do, but government felt that it was important to regulate, and they did not take up the responsibility to facilitate. By stopping
Obra not to get money from NSSF, how do you expect it to run? Yet you said it is bigger than NSF because it deals with so many retirement benefits for your workers.
Government must facilitate its own agents. It was not our duty because the money Ubra was eating or using to undertake its function was our money as the servers of NSSF. But we are not the government. So the government that instituted or installed these agents needed to find money for its functionality and not to take our money, because it was reducing on the interest. For example, if all this money was the billions they were taking monthly, if that money was to remain in the investment on our accounts, the interest that NSSF pronounces at the end of the year could be more. And the other thing is that there has been an introduction now, a legal provision that guarantees people who are not in the formal setting to make voluntary contributions to NSSF. We have had this syndrome of government wanting to attract money easily, the easy form of collection. A salaried person is easy to collect from. But you are collecting money from somebody who earns 100,000 shillings a month, but there is somebody who earns 1 million per second in Ichikubo, who also have social protection issues and would even be willing to save $1 million or 20 million in a month.
Okay.
So this law has now opened up for anybody, including people who have reached retirement age and are not supposed to contribute, can now find themselves back into the scheme.
All right.
And you make your contributions. So to us as trade union people, we find these other components very, very significant, important to the NSSF members, in addition to the mid-term access. The discussion today is going to center more on the mid-term access.
Okay, thank you so much, Moses. Agatha, you in the beginning said that agencies that are employing more than 5%, five people should be part of the NSSF. But why is it that so many agencies, companies and individuals have not embraced the NSSF? Why is the problem? Agatha.
That's a very good question. The law is very clear on that. It's once more than 5 people, you have to contribute as an employer 10% to NSSF, and also for them they contribute 5%. But most of the people have been avoiding paying that money. They have been avoiding paying the money. And in the new amendment, it now the number of people. So you can even pay NSSF for one worker you have. It has removed that figure of 5. So whoever employing someone is mandated to pay NSSF for that worker. Many organizations have been avoiding this. Some people have been doing it intentionally because they don't want to undergo and put that money into NSSF. NSSF for some time here, some years back, has been making sure that it does the awareness and also making sure those organizations put in order. But one thing, because money, it's our retirement, it's our sweat, we have noted that organizations have been not following the law. So we find that they don't emit every month. You can find that in a year an organization has emitted maybe 5 months, and then it doesn't emit and so on. But the practice and what the amendment now has put in place is there are going to be penalties for people fraudulently avoiding payment of this money. And I think they have put a provision of paying some penalties, things, and also imprisonment to enforce. The one thing from enforce, but they tend to ignore. I don't know. Maybe they not as strong as that, but we just need to also come in and see that all our employers are paying that money. So the Uganda employers to make sure that the employers are also doing this. They are also part of the board of NSSF.
Okay.
So NSSF as employers is to make sure that all employees get that money and workers don't miss that money. And make sure it's not meeting the money. A reward for people who would go and are not emitting that money. So people should, if you know you're emitting the money, go to NSSF. They will go ahead and engage the employer, make sure that your money is emitted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Most welcome. This is UBC Ground Zero. We're broadcasting live on 98 FM UBC Radio. We're also live and clear on our sister radio stations, UBC West Nile FM, UBC Utebo, and Magic One on 100 FM. Ampaire Amon Butega is my name, and we're discussing NSSF midterm benefits. We are looking at the implications on the social protection of the people of Uganda. And in the studios, I have Namirembe Agatha Arembe, who is the chairperson of Uganda Public Employees Union. Mauk Moses is the general secretary of Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union. And we're going to have Biakatonda Abdul, who is Workers MP later on. Ground Zero takes a very short break. When we return, we are going to get some of the callers and you tell us on what you think about the NSSF. And in our next part of this edition, we are going to talk about the midterm benefits. We've been looking at what NSSF is about. And so when we come back, we're going to look at the midterm benefits. This is Ground Zero on UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda. We are taking a very short break. We pray you don't go away. We are coming back in a bit.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
As Uganda works towards Vision 2040, UBC Radio is dedicated to the development of Uganda. Join us every day for transformative programs in English, Swahili, and Luo. This is UBC Radio.
Hey, Matilda, before you go, have you received your COVID vaccine?
Not yet, Sevo.
Hey, Matilda, why not? The Association of Religious in Uganda, ARU, and partners have launched Ambassadors Vaccine Campaign to inform you about the benefits of being vaccinated. Talks are all over that are neither research or scientific based over the COVID vaccines. What I can tell you, the vaccines are safe to save life of God's people. Life is for us all. Let us go for vaccination to stop the spread of COVID-19.
This message is brought to you by the Association of Religious in Uganda, ARU, and partners.
Matilda, go and get your vaccine.
It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
Welcome back from that very short break. This is UBC Ground Zero. We're broadcasting live on 98 FM, UBC Radio. We're also live on clear on our sister radio stations, UBC Utebo, UBC West Nile, and Magic One on 100 FM. We are talking about NSSF midterm benefits, looking at the implications on social protection of Ugandans. In the studios, I have Namirembe Agatha Arembe, who is the chairperson Uganda Public Employees Union, and Mauku Moses is the General Secretary Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union, and Ampaire Amon Butega is my name. You are free now to call on 776-511-426. The number to call on and join the conversation now is 776-511-426. This is UBC Ground Zero. Hello? You can call again on 776-511-426 and join the conversation on what you think about the NSSF. As we go on, maybe UBC.
Good morning, Empire.
Good morning to you.
With the rest of the team in the studio.
All right.
This is Juma, live from Busega.
Welcome on UBC Ground Zero.
Thank you.
What do you think about NSSF?
NSSF, we have only two people who are responsible for NSSF, the way I see. It is the President himself and Almighty God. Only, I don't see the use or the purpose of putting director of NSSF, NSSF management, what and everything.
How is God and Museveni involved in NSSF and their contributions in this?
Without his signature, without his accent, even though Malaika angels were who they are less concerned, they are nothing. I, Juma, myself, the owner of the money, I'm nothing 10 times. It pains me. It pains me. Me, I thought when COVID came like a savior, maybe like a savior, if people could have access to their midterm, just a midterm, have they ever asked busy contributors how much do they want to be given? It was all everything getting suffocated within their offices and offices. None of them sensitize the public. None of them has gone to the villages everywhere where people are working to pick the view. How much, according to you, Juma, do you think you are supposed to get? By the way, we were started at 45 years. You may have access to your money. They added to 50 years to have access to your money. Now, currently, we have reached to 55 years to have our money. It is still sound our money. But it means government has taken over our money. How can you tell me that you're the one protecting my money? And when I'm in trouble, I need a help. You want me to go over 100 offices just to access my own money. And you are proud of saying that you are saving for my own future. Without me going for work, will you save for my future?
Okay.
Government, please. I'm going to conclude.
All right.
What I'm seeing, the government, they are biased about the workers who are sweating day and night for their own money, is prolonging the process of someone to get a help from his own sweat or her own sweat. They start saying, go and get national. Like for me, I started the NSSF even without national ID. That day, national ID is the topic of NSSF. That without a national ID, you're not going to access. Now, why don't you first go to NIRA to go back when they started establishing this issue of everyone to have national ID? Those who fail to have ID, have they come back and asked them why you fail to get an national ID?
Okay.
They are quiet today.
All
so
right.
To me, yes, okay. Anyway, I had a lot to share with you. Otherwise, for me, what I know, NSSF government, you continue corrupting this NSSF money, and to me, I don't.
Okay.
It is rubbish. It is rubbish, Amon. It is rubbish. Thank you.
This is UBC Ground Zero. We're broadcasting live on 98 FM. UBC.
Hello, UBC.
Live and clear.
Yeah, good morning, all people in which are in UBC.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, this is Martin from Uganda.
Yes, Martin.
On my side, I'm happy what the president did to us, also these poor people or down people. I'm happy for that. He has saved us and he has helped us. But only the problem is there. I'm the owner of the money. And even I have a problem like paying school fees and the other problems. But you find that they tell you that go to the other office, go to number what, to fight to get that money. But let me ask you, you mean that all the Ugandans die under NSSF or not?
Okay.
So the problem is hitting me too much. At least if the government say that this and this, I know that it was the president who said that let us put this money in what NSSF to help people which are working or even others which are not working. I think like that. So, but now if it's the president, why again the prime minister who also to enter inside that money? And even I have like 20-something millions there, and then themselves they discuss to give me just like 2 million. Yet I wanted like 5 million. You imagine that one. Okay. And even they tell you that they send you to go to the bank. You go to the bank and you get a banker's statement as if you have requested a loan from the bank, or you are just fighting for your money.
Martin, how do you think this should be handled?
Let it be open. If it is helping me just like this on my account, I will go with my ATO, I will go with what? And I go and withdraw the money which is there. That one can help. Thank you.
Most welcome and greetings to the people of Mienga.
Amen.
This is UBC Ground Zero. Live and clear on UBC 98 FM. The number to call is 776-511-426 and join the conversation. This is UBC, Inspiring Uganda. UBC? Hello? You may call again on 776-511-426. UBC?
Hello?
Live and clear.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling from?
This is Emmanuel calling from Mukono.
Emmanuel from Mukono. Your concern, please.
Here I just wanted because I did not at the right time. I came and I found that you guys have got. I just wanted to ask.
We are talking about NSSF mid-term benefits and looking at the implications on the social protection of Ugandans.
I just want if I'm submitted by NSSF number to the company that I'm working and those guys are not paying my money, do I have a right to go and talk to the guys of NSSF? Those guys can begin putting my money there.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Most welcome. UBC. Live and clear on UBC. Hello. Hello. UBC.
Yes, this is Ouma from Butebo.
Ouma from Butebo.
Butebo, yes.
Your concern, sir?
Now, let me first correct the first callers. I think they are trying to divert us from the point. The issue is not about the president. The issue is about NSSF. I've been a part of that. And when I clocked 55 and I went there, everybody was welcoming me and they paid me. Now, the issue probably I would talk about, now that NSSF has opened up and has taken away some, bottlenecks, are they considering that even in the rural areas, people would be willing to be a part of NSSF, and yet offices for NSSF are far away? Thank you so much.
Most welcome and greetings to the people of Butebo.
You're welcome.
UBC, live and clear on 98 FM, UBC Radio. Ground Zero.
Hello.
Ground Zero.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling from?
You're talking to Abel Mukono.
You're
talking to Abel from Mukono.
Yes, Abel from Mukono.
Yes, I wanted to ask. There are people who fail to get their national ID up to now, but they want to get an NSSF number. Which kind of help can you give to those people?
Okay. We are getting 2 more callers and get back to the studio. Shall get more calls later on. This is UBC, and you can join the conversation in the next set of our callers. When we go for the second break, allow me go back to the studios to address some of your concerns. Moses, you heard from the people of Uganda. Can we talk about now the mid-term benefits? We are looking at the implications on the social protection of Ugandans. And good thing you've heard from the people's perceptions and concerns. I think we can start from there. Starting with you, Moses.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank the people that have been calling in.
Juma says it is only the president and God, that can help the beneficiaries to access their money.
It is a reality that some people do not have information. They are not privy to information on what is happening in NSSF, how NSSF has evolved over the time. I'm one of the witnesses of an uncle who used to come and claim his money. He worked with ATM for very many years. And when it came to time of claim, he only managed to get 187,000. And the monies he had used in terms of transport and accommodation, the good thing is that he was staying with us each time he came to Kampala. It would have been even 10 times more than the money he had in NSSF that time. The records were very, very, very bad in NSSF those days. But NSSF has evolved a great deal, that this day you get a statement of your account each day your money is deposited. It wasn't the case some years ago, and there has been improvement, but some people still don't have this information, and they are still thinking in the past. However, so many developments that have been undertaken by NSSF to improve their services and operations. Martin also was also volunteering some bit of similar quarrel with Juma, but all we can inform them is that NSSF is a fund that operates by law, and the operations of NSSF are guided by the same laws. The different management systems that have been developed have been trying to improve the functionality and the operations of that fund, and we have seen a lot of improvement from what it used to be and what it is today. However, it is important for us to note that when people raise such issues, the NSSF management is duty bound to capture such complaints and see how to turn them into operational issues for purposes of improving the services to the beneficiaries. Then Emmanuel from Mokono was talking of his employer refusing to remit even when he has given him his particulars about NSSF.
That was could be the best solution for that.
The best solution is for you to go to any NSSF office and report that matter in confidence. They will not declare your name, but they will come and begin to follow up with your employer. You go.
Is it going to raise a conflict at work?
You know, there is raising a conflict of work and also losing money. So you choose between the two. But what you know is that if you are a whistleblower, you are protected. I one time whistle blew on not remitting our monies, and I saw coming to undertake an audit, but this was an employee who was a little bit stubborn. Still, he didn't pay, and I did not see him go to prison. But for you to do what you are meant to do, go whistleblower, inform the NSSF office so that they can follow up with your employer and you get your monies get into your account with NSSF. And then Butebo is wondering what voluntary contribution benefit or system is going to also target people in the rural areas. It is a law now, so it is for every Ugandan. Whether you are in Kachabali, whether you are in which village, these people have that village called Kachabali. Just whoever to subscribe voluntarily, you have the liberty. So it is not people in the urban centers, it is for all Ugandans. Whoever feels wants to contribute, you can. And then the other person was saying, what happens to those who have actually failed to secure national IDs? This national ID issue has become a very big problem to very many people, and yet, I don't know what problem NIDA has. They have made in secure these national IDs. I think at one point in time, the responsible person in government must tell Uganda what is happening with secure national IDs for those who secure them.
Don't you think you too, the unions for workers, should have a contribution in this, because your members are missing a lot?
We are going to become an icon. A request for you to access even the military is you must have a national ID. And we are very well aware that there are very many people who do not have these national IDs, not because of their own fault, but by fault of NIDA not issuing them. So we are going to raise this with the responsible minister to ensure that they first track the problem, whichever problem is existing with NIDA. To issue people because they have needs, and this is a law that requires somebody to first have a national ID to access. So if the national ID is becoming a stumbling block, then we must find ways of how to sort it out.
All right. Agatha, Why is it so much difficult that the NSSF and other agencies are limiting the beneficiaries to access this money, which they call their money? You go to this office, go to the other office, bring this, bring the ID, bring the NSSF card. Why is it so much difficult? Agatha?
Thank you so much. On that issue of why is it very difficult, I think NSSF is not making it difficult for people to access this money. I know when this amendment came in and the workers and under their unions were demanding for midterm access, there was a struggle. NSSF had some statements saying that the fund will collapse once midterm access is allowed. We went and did our research, and we found out the number of people who are in that bracket of 45 years, and those ones who would have worked for 10 years, because the requirement to get midterm access is you have to have made 45 years, and you should have saved with a fund for 10 years. When we made our assessment, we actually found that NSSF was very much able to pay this benefit without the fund collapsing. Because you should take in mind that NSSF gets income every month. Each and every month, money is being emitted to NSSF in trillions. Secondly, NSSF has assets, very key assets that are bringing in income. They have invested the workers' money, and that is a requirement by law to invest the money, because you are not supposed to keep that money redundant. So all those investments are there. So that argument and struggle was defeated by figures that were presented by the trade unions. So the next was the regulations, which regulations have finally come out. And there are just a few things that need to be ironed out. But I know if you have an NSSF ID, is also good enough. The only thing, how do we identify you as the true person? That is where the problem comes in of IDs. Now, NSSF, as my brother Moses says, has made a lot of changes, various changes, in order to people to access money. I think it's not very true, and I think it's very unfair to the management of NSSF to say that people cannot access that money. It's because people have not been given this information. But when you go to these offices, I was a witness in 2020. I helped someone to get money, and I was surprised that person was able to get money in 15 days. And what was required? What was required was only to walk into an NSSF office. They would give you forms. You fill out those forms with your ID and give the details. You give the details also of your bank where you want that money to go. And then the other requirements, maybe a photograph and so on, they were very, very limited. And within 15 days, that person has accessed the money. But maybe sometimes we really think it's impossible. But this was very, very, very possible.
Don't you think even 15 days were too much?
With 15 days, of course, you allow that because of verification process and so on, to verify. And as we said, the money is not there redundant. Money is invested. But the beauty of it and why they give those 15 days, because income comes in monthly. Monthly. Employers have to remit that money monthly. So there should not be that argument that we have no money at all.
Mountain had a concern that why can't NSSF put this money to their accounts for easy access?
Directly into their accounts, because you have to apply for it. It's a process. You apply, and at the end of the day, you give them your bank, and they put the money on your account.
Okay.
So they still do that. I wanted to also add something on this.
Please.
On the issue of COVID versus midterm access. I think there is a miscap there. Many people tend to think that midterm access was a result of COVID, which is not true. The trade unions have been for several years, had brought proposals of amending the NSSF Act. And one of the issues was midterm access. So it's not true that the midterm access is a result of COVID. And people could not get COVID money or relief from NSSF because there was no enabling law. The law that was there at the moment had no provision for getting midterm access. We have no provision in our laws that cushion us on maybe medical issues or on pandemics, epidemics, all that. They are not covered under our NSSF Act. So that is why it was very, very, very difficult, even for government, if it had that goodwill, to pay that money during COVID. And that's why through our workers' MPs and the trade unions were able to push the midterm to include midterm access in the amendment to cushion such issues. For people to use that money even before retirement. Because the former law was very clear. You only get the money on retirement, or if you die, maybe the estate gets that money, or when you have a disability that does not enable you to be employed anymore. I thought I would clarify on that.
As workers' union, are you not concerned that the money that would help the people when they get old, they cannot be employed, they cannot help themselves, they're going to eat it before that time? Are you not worried that about the future of such people?
I mean, when you get with midterm access, you're just getting 20% of your money. It's not that you're getting all your money. So the other 80% is still there. And this money is still being invested. This money is still getting an interest. So you still have money, but this midterm access will help you, and we request workers to use this money wisely. Use it, maybe there are people who want to educate their children in university. That's an investment. There are people who want to start up some investments as they work. Use this money wisely. Don't just eat it. So for me, that's my counseling to people. And don't get this money because you just want to get the money. You should plan properly for this money. When we have talked to our workers, different people have different opinions. There are those who even don't want to get this money at all, the midterm. So it's not a must that everyone will go out for that midterm access. No. Others are thinking that, let me leave my money to get interest, and at the end of the day when I'm retiring, I will get it. So we should not look at it as is a must to access the midterm access.
Moses.
Yes, please.
Giving Ugandans about 2 billion in 2 weeks' time, where do you see the economy of Uganda in 2 years? Are we not having inflation in the near future?
I want to say yes or no. One is that you must also understand that there are Ugandans today who earn 2 billion shillings in less than a week, one individual. So we, though without the money from NSSF, we still have the money by a few people. So it's not that this money will come and cause inflation. It has a very minimal influence on the economy. And probably, let me first explain, because we have not given people an opportunity to understand the midterm access. Midterm access to NSSF is a proposal that came over 20 years ago.
Not during the COVID
Not at
situation?
all. It's just that sharp MPs who had looked into the position paper filed with the parliament, but the trade unions wanted to use it as a political capital during the COVID time, because their electorates were pushing them for handouts. And they imagined that since we were discussing this law of NSSF, where we saved money, then let us use this one. They did not know what they knew, but they had to understand or comprehend the fact that you couldn't access money without the law. They had not yet passed the law, but they were pushing NSSF to pay to these, to us, the members. When NSSF was also insisting, we don't have a law under which we can pay this money. So it is a proposal that came over 20 years ago. We wanted midterm access. One of the other proposals that we had mooted is we wanted NSSF to start or create a bank for its members, because we are funding banks within Uganda. DFCU uses NSSF money. Housing Finance Bank uses our money to operate. So we were saying, why don't we have our own bank as NSSF so that the members can access loans at a reasonable or an agreeable interest, since you're already a member, the owner of that money. But that didn't also work out. We also had the proposal that can our money be kept in terms of dollars? Because of anything. If something happens and either there is a devaluation of the currency, we end up losing a lot of money. So some people were thinking, why can't NSSF, since they are investing this money even outside Uganda, even in Rwanda, we have investments there in neighboring countries, using our money here. So some other workers were saying, can we have our money kept in terms of dollars? Those were all proposals. And the position paper that we presented to Parliament had 3 reasons for which we needed midterm access. One was midterm access was meant for education purposes. Because there is, let me take my example. If I have 100 million, I'm assuming I have 100 million with NSSF, I am 40 years, and I have lost employment. The old law was saying I can only access money at 50 years and after 1 year of no subscription as proof that I no longer earn a salary. Then the 51st year, I can now access that money. If I am not working, you get. But I am having 100 million, and I have school-going children for whom I cannot be able to pay their fees. So we said, under such circumstances, let us have midterm access to help and or support such members who are in such dilemma. The second reason was medical. Since in Uganda we don't have a national medical or insurance scheme, we said let us have midterm access in terms of problems that are related to medical. You know, these days very many people have problems with the children, heart, kidney, and the operation or treatment is done in India, where they ask for 40 million. And the people who have over 100 million, you look at your child dying because there is no midterm access, and you can't access all the other money that is there because you have not made age. And the third reason we advanced for asking for midterm was housing. I have money with you, I've been working, and probably the company that has been employing me had given me a house. For one reason or the other, I ceased to be an employee with this company. And now I have to go home. I have no accommodation. I have no job. So under the circumstances, we also said such employees in such situations would be given midterm access to attend to their housing issues. The problem is now practice.
Okay.
When NSSF was just defeated, they didn't want midterm access. They wanted all the money on themselves so that they choose. You know, under the Ministry of Finance, for them, they think money, they work money, everything is about money. Investment. They don't think about the individual owner, the individual owner's interest. It is their interest, finance. And that is why we were fighting all through to ensure that this money, this fund goes back to be administered by the ministry responsible for social security. That understands.
So you no longer want NSSF. You want your issues to be dealt by the ministry.
No. NSSF is the organization, is the operational organization that manages the fund. However, the supervisor, the one who created the law in 1974, was the ministry responsible for gender, labor, and social development. It only went to Ministry of Finance because of the scrappers MODs who had swindled money, and they were interdicted and they were imprisoned. So they said, I think the ministry is not managing well. Let us divert it to Ministry of Finance to manage. When it went there, it also met a lot of problems than we even expected. So we have been all through fighting to put it back where it belongs. And that is where it is.
All right.
And we are a little bit happy it is where in the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, and we have adequate numbers of representation, or even on the board of the NSSF. So we are a little bit comfortable.
All right.
So I wanted to conclude by saying one thing.
Okay. In seconds.
Is that this midterm access, it has started operations. By yesterday, they were recording over 9,000 members applying.
Out of that, 4,000 rejected.
No matter, because there must be criteria. Otherwise, the same people, ourselves, we shall begin crying that my money was taken by my twin brother. So when there are yardsticks set out, I must also tell you that we also participate in the process to make this law. 3 weeks ago, we were doing a validation on the regulations of how people should access this money. The difference that you will see in the midterm access provision in the law, though the way it is being pronounced is as if midterm access is the law itself. No, it is just one of the amendments that have been made. It is a requirement that one must have the NSSF number provided by card. You must also have your passport size photo for purposes of comparison with what is in the system, and you must have a bank account. Depending if you are expecting your 20% to be less than or 3 million shillings lower, they can deposit this money directly to your mobile account, mobile money account on your phone. But if your 20% exceeds 3 million, then it will go on your bank account. So you must have a bank account as well. And lastly, you also need to have the national ID. It is a requirement. The only thing is we need to deal with the person who is delaying or refusing to issue Ugandans with national IDs. When sometimes we even see Sudanese holding our cards here. Then a Ugandan is moving every week. He can't get it.
Okay. Ground Zero, broadcasting live on 98 FM, UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda. We're also live and clear on Optable FM, West Nile FM, and Magic One Radio. We are discussing NSSF midterm benefits, looking at the implications on social protection of Ugandans. In the studios, I have Namrembe Agatha Arembe, the chairperson of Uganda Public Employees Union, and Mauku Moses, General Secretary, Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets, and Allied Workers Union. Apaire Amonotega is my name, and this is Ground Zero on UBC Radio. We are taking a very short break. When we return, we are getting your calls. You will call us again after this very short break on 776-511-426 and raise your concern for the people in the studios to address them. We are taking a very short break. Don't you go away. We're coming back in a bit. This is UBC Ground Zero.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
This is UBC Radio, the home of inspiration.
UBC Radio Network. UBC Radio is your national preferred choice. We broadcast all over Uganda and beyond. Join us on 98 FM in Kampala, 99.4 FM Lira, and 97.4 FM Arua. Only on UBC Radio. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda. UBC UBC Radio Network, your national preferred choice. We broadcast all over Uganda and beyond. Join us on 98 FM in Kampala, 99.4 FM Lira, and 97.4 FM Arua. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda. UBC Radio Network. UBC Radio is your national preferred choice. We broadcast all over Uganda and beyond. Join us on 98 FM in Kampala, 99.4 FM Lira, and 97.4 FM Arua. Only on UBC Radio. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
Welcome back from that very short break. This is UBC. We're broadcasting live on 98 FM, UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda. We are also live and clear on our sister radio stations, UBC Utebo, UBC Western Island, and Magic One on 100 FM. Online is Honorable Biakatonda Abdul. Hello?
Hello.
You are live and clear on UBC.
Thanks to Ground Zero.
You may greet our dear listener.
Yes, a pleasure hearing from you. How are the listeners and the panelists?
All well.
I want to thank you for the program.
Okay.
Yes.
We are discussing NSSF midterm benefits. We are looking at the implications on social protection of Ugandans.
Yes.
In the studios, I have Namirembe Agatha Arembe, is the chairperson of Uganda's Public Employees Union, and also Mauk Moses is the general secretary, Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets, and Light Workers Union.
And they are brains of the labor movement. I thank you for hosting them.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
As a member of parliament representing workers, what is your opinion about the NSSF midterm benefit or bill?
Well, thank you very much for really hosting us and actually according time to this very important topic.
Okay.
Social security, I think we are looking at the minimum standards.
Mm.
This stems from ILO Convention 102 of 1952. Actually, this is the flagship convention of the Social Security. And it attempted to address a number of challenges which workers face. And as one of the workers members of parliament, I think you realize that the coming of the pandemic COVID-19 brought a number of challenges, among which included really health issues and, of course, unemployment, which we were trying to mitigate. So in this, we realized that the savers, workers of Uganda, needed to have a fallback position. That's why we requested that the government would look at enabling them access, at least part of their savings, at the end savings. But of course, when we did this request, there was no legal framework. We needed really to explore and have legal framework which could actually guide the operationalization of this request. In 2019, I think this is when the new parliament, the parliament had started on this matter. But then there was a law which had been done, and then of course, when the 11th parliament came into force, all these laws became obsolete and required really to restart, and we started on the process. So what I want to urge Ugandans that one, I want to appreciate that at least there is enabling a law, and the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development has come up with regulations that guide the operationalization of the midterm access. And of course, what we suffice to mention is that one, we must know that owing to the pandemic, there is a lot of uncertainty, not only in Uganda, but globally. All economies are staggering, and social security has become a very big challenge, whereby uncertainty is not actually guaranteed. Because one, when we talk of the social development goals, which are going up to 2030, social security is one of the key aspects. When we look at the national NPS3, social security is one of the key issues. When we look at the Ugandan constitution, under the principles and of the constitution, I think social security is one of them, and some articles. So related, they want to implore Ugandans that one, let them not to look at social security as a lottery. Now that they are starting to access, I know there are challenges because operationally this is a new thing, and operationalization of a number in the guidelines could have challenges. And as the parliament, we ensure that at least we do an oversight role to ensure that all Ugandans who are beneficiaries in this scheme, midterm access, can benefit without any hurdles. And we shall continue to monitor and ensure that at least we guide the implementers, including the means of gender, to say that at least enabling laws, enabling environment is put in place to enable people access the money.
You're among the brains behind the NSSF bill.
Yes, I'm a member of the Gender Committee, Labour and Social Gender Development Committee.
Okay.
And indeed, as a workers MP, I think, this was actually, the House helps us, but of course, we had to lift and ensure that we put on the knee, such that at least it's pushed on our head and we carried the whole process.
Okay.
And of course, the Parliament per se was very supportive, and that's why we were able to have it on course within a short time. The President was very supportive, because when we discussed, I think he realized that there was a need really to help Ugandans.
What are some of your expectations after passing this bill as Parliament?
Some of my expectations is that one, the midterm access is once in a lifetime lifetime spending of a person. So people must be able to access and ensure that at least they change their lives positively. One, in terms of health access to health, in terms of handling their health issues, in terms of ensuring that at least they fill the gaps in terms of unemployment. For example, I think Mr. Brother Bauku Moses would have told you and Agasa that most of the sectors that were hit were the informal sector. Uganda hotels was not actually saved. The market vendors actually had a lot of challenges. And you never know what happens tomorrow. So we want to see that at least there must be a spillover effect in terms of access of this money, such that when you are pushed and you have actually your money, which is the actual people's money, because they are savings, they must be able to ensure that at least they invest strategically. And then as we wait for the 80%, which can come at either mandatory age of retirement, which is about 60 years, or at the period when they are not employed, when they are 50 years, for 2 years at least, those are the parameters. Because the social security has 9 branches under this convention I've mentioned. It looks at medical care, it looks at sickness benefits, it looks at unemployment benefits, old age, of course, that is the one which is more automatic in the country. It looks at unemployment injury benefit. We have the family benefit and maternity, but maternity is normally not implemented in the country. Then it looks at invalidity. You're at your workplace and maybe got injured and you're no longer able to work. So the invalidity benefits. Then maybe, God forbid, you have lost lives. Then that's what we call the survivor's benefit. Your people should are entitled to benefit from this fund. So this fund is destined to grow, because I think one, as my expectation, one, people are going to be motivated because they are seeing that at least when you save in NSSF, you can access your money as midterm access. Then two, savers are going to increase because one, we are trying to sensitize them on voluntary saving, whereby you don't necessarily have to be employed in a formal sector and be entitled to mandatory under the law. But of course, now we are saying within the law, we have incorporated what we call voluntary saving. Voluntary saving per se, one, we are looking at a category of workers who could want to additionally save. They can actually add a percentage to what, because the employer is giving them 10% and they are deducting their 5%. So I think you can even say, maybe me, they can add my money so that I now save 30% of my earnings. So that's under voluntary. Or, in the alternative, in an informal sector, not actually necessarily that you can save, but you can say, I also want to save. Or even you've actually reached mandatory age and got your benefits. You can again come back and say, I want to save my money. And that with NSSF. Because it is twofold. One, you are securing your money. Then two, the interest in NSSF is a 2-digit. We are talking about at least a minimum of 10% savings on your money that you are saving with NSSF.
Okay.
So you find that this money grows at a faster rate and without encumbrance. So when, for example, under voluntary, you can access your money anytime. It's just a matter of now. Of course, they are going to also have a regulation which will guide this, so that a person can withdraw the money. I think the much dwelling was on the regulation that guide midterm access, but we are going to employ the means of the means of gender, labor and social development to also come up with a regulation that will guide voluntary savers. But I think this is automatic because as we do this, we are not looking at only midterm access. People who are clocking the age of 30 actually are also going ahead with securing their savings.
Okay.
Their money.
All right.
If invalidity, they are going on with their money. Survivor's benefits, they are going on. So I think it's a comprehensive approach.
Honorable.
And yes, please.
NSSF says it may not have this money. What should Ugandans, especially those who are willing and expecting this money, to do?
For me, as a researcher and a legislator, that is the hearsay. They should write to us. They should write because they are accountable. Parliament carries out an oversight. So I've not seen that write up to that effect, saying they don't have money until they write. Because these are the issues that we had when we were trying to even process midterm access. We had a lot of challenges until there was stakeholder engagement at all levels, up to the level of Parliament, up to the level of the President, and I think we understood one another as stakeholders and we came up with the law. So what is important is for them to come up with a write-up, inform us as relevant stakeholders, inform us as people who carry out oversight as Parliament, then we can be able to talk from an informed position.
Honorable.
Yes, please.
Are you not worried that if this bill is implemented and people start getting the money, our economy may actually get into an inflation?
No, it's not an inflation because what we are doing, I think that would be, the perception would be that people are going to get money and go to the bars. What we are doing, we are carrying out sensitization to the masses to say that at least people should now have enterprises out of their money and savings that they are accessing. Such that now, tomorrow, we are looking at import exports. We are trying to look at income generation. We are trying to look at value addition to our products, such that at least the economy grows. Because why? Countries are now open. Uganda is now one of the lucrative countries that people are eyeing in terms of the number of goods. There are countries are eyeing our coffee. Countries are eyeing our cashew nuts. Countries are eyeing our fish. Actually, our fish is exported to Congo. So what we are saying is that, one, people should look at ideas, should look at enterprises that can actually kickstart the process, such that by the time they get the 80%, we shall be on course and we shall be seeing development actually occurring all over the world, all over the country.
All right.
Such that at the end of the day, if you are starting an enterprise, then you are employing some people.
All right.
And within the community, you'll have an effect that you are causing to the economy. So I think what we are looking at is that, one, we are not encouraging people to get money and go and marry second or third wives. We are not looking at people to get money and go and sit in the bars. We feel Ugandans have had experience owing to the COVID-19 pandemic and they will really invest strategically. And I want to emphasize that before you line up to go and get your money in NSSF, make sure you have selected an enterprise. An enterprise that where you want to put the money. Do you want to complete a house?
Okay.
Do you really want to ensure that at least your land is utilized and you can actually have a fruit garden? Do you want to ensure that at least you can one of the exporters? I think there are a lot of enterprises in the country where we need to put our money strategically.
All right.
So that's a put. I want to ensure that at least this should not actually include the disparities among the people of Uganda and the beneficiaries of NSSF midterm access.
All right.
But the other have a spillover effect that should be able to be counted so that at least we see that at least is a contribution. Everybody makes a contribution to the growth of the economy. Everybody makes a contribution to the growth of a household. So that at the end of the day, we can be able to benchmark and actually see that at least this is the right way to go.
All right.
Such that at the end of the day, even people, the savers will actually grow because they will be seeing from uninformed background.
Okay.
Yes.
Before I let you go, Honorable, is Uganda opting for an alternative solution for social protection in future after you have allowed people to eat their money, which would have helped them in future?
Of course, now we are very strategic. We are not eating all the money, but they're only getting up 20% of their savings.
All right.
So this we shall benchmark and actually have a monitoring and evaluation tool to see the impact of NSF midterm access at the end of the day, such that maybe in policy guidelines we can be able to trace from this and see whether it had the positive or negative effects.
Okay.
But overall, I think it was perceived in a way that at least to enable people to have life, because we have a saying that every life counts. And now that this has been achieved, let us actually monitor and evaluate. Then we can be able to make an analysis.
All right.
And see the way forward in the future.
All right.
Yes,
Your
sir.
last remark, Honorable?
I would like to urge Ugandans to be patriotic and ensure that at least when they're accessing this money, for example, the NSSF midterm access, let them invest strategically. And I want to say, underline the word strategically and appropriately. So that at the end of the day, Uganda can be one of the countries that will rejoice in terms of development, in terms of service delivery, and in terms of growth. So all this starts with all those Ugandans that are accessing this midterm access. They should not put it to waste, I want to add. I thank you so much.
Most welcome, and it was great having you on UBC Ground Zero.
Yeah, pleasure.
All right. We've just heard from Honorable Abdul Biakatonda, who is the MP for Workers, sharing his ideas on Ground Zero on UBC about what he thinks about the NSSF midterm access and also raising the implications this may cause to the social protection of Ugandans. This is UBC. We're going to get a few callers and I get back to the studio and we go on with this edition of Ground Zero. UBC live and clear.
Yes, sir. This is Modingo Doviko.
Your name again?
Modingo Doviko.
Doviko Omading, calling from where?
I'm calling from Kololo.
Korolo. Your idea, please.
Yeah, I'm going direct to Mr. Moses. I heard him saying that the whistleblowers, they are protected. But I'm requesting for them who are just a request for them who are working in NSSF. These private companies, they are not paying NSSF. We try to report them always in NSSF, but there are nothing they are doing up to now. So far now, like 5 months, they have no message which you have reflected that they even had out. They put money in the accounts, but in a pay slip, they are chopping every month. So we don't know which NSSF is going to help private companies.
All right.
Ultimate is, I don't know, I stopped paying when. There's this company called the Ultimate Security, they are not paying NSSF.
All right.
Yes, we try to report, they're saying we're following up, but we are not seeing any reaction.
Your name again?
Omodingo Doviko.
Omodingo Doviko.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being part of Ground Zero.
Okay, welcome.
Your concern is going to be addressed by the people in the studios. UBC live and clear. This is Ground Zero. We're broadcasting live on 98 FM, UBC Table, Western Isle FM, and Magic 1 on 100 FM. UBC.
Yes, hello.
Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Ibrahim within Bukoto.
Ibrahim.
Yes, sir.
Your concern, please.
Actually, let me take this time to appreciate those gentlemen around the studio.
Okay.
For their first-hand information.
All right.
That sensitized, we have got what is going on and everything. So for us who are just juniors, NSSF, for us we have worked for like 7 years, 6 years. For us we are still have a lot of journey to move. So I'm just appreciating NSSF for a better life.
All right. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
UBC live and clear on 98 FM.
Yes, Juma
Juma Busega once again.
Please.
Yeah, to me, I will still go on by saying I, as a beneficiary of NSSF, I earn nothing. When NSSF, they are bringing that we have buildings, we have assets of this worth of trillion. I don't get value in them. And I don't feel the benefit of their percentage they add on top of the money they have shopped for me. Myself, Juma, I pray for my own money, the figure which you pick from me. Let it be that one. That's why I feel sorry for them saying that if they pay over half of the money to the people, then the account will remain blank. Where does those money goes?
Okay.
Do you first inquire from us that you are going to buy buildings? No. Then how are we going to rescue our children being our women are being captured from their parents because we were not able to finish all the dower this short term or mid term access. That might help. I need a shelter for those very children.
Right.
That I'm saving for the future. The future starts from me and my children. Now when you are sleeping under the tree, in the future, there's no future. I have to get money for sheltering them and bringing back their mother. You know the problem. Those are the challenges, okay?
All right.
Yes. Thank you very much, Amo.
Most welcome, Juma. Yes. UBC, live and clear, 98 FM, UBC Radio. We are here to inspire Uganda. Live and clear on UBC.
Yes, morning, sir.
Morning to you.
This is Helen from Matuga.
Helen from Matuga.
I've just joined in the conversation, but I'm only inquiring. If some people have their loved ones who passed on, and they want to save that money with the NSSF, can they allow their relatives to get it? And then if somebody was once working in a company and they have been deducting the money and the person is now disabled at home, is he or she allowed to come and claim for what he had saved in?
Okay.
That is my question.
All right. Thank you, Helen.
Because I have a friend who was working in a Renzori company, and now she's blind, and they used to deduct her money also.
All right.
Yeah.
We pray they get helped, and your answers are going to be, your questions are going to be answered. This is Ground Zero, UBC. UBC. Good morning to you.
You're speaking to Gladys Ataya.
Gladys from where?
From Kamosha.
Yes, Gladys.
Yes, mine is a question.
Yeah?
Supposing, those days, let me give like an example. Sometimes all of us, we have not gone to school. So someone has borrowed someone's paper to get a job. And now, this issue of national ID has come.
Do you mind reducing on your radio? Because we are getting that echo.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Now the
go ahead.
issue of national ID has come. And again, in the NSSF, the person's name is maybe let me say Achai Gladys. And then in the national ID is Christine Akongo. So how do you people will be able to help that person to get his or her money from NSSF since the names they are different but one person?
Okay. They're going to answer you.
All right.
Greetings to the people of Kamocha. UBC Ground Zero, broadcasting live on 98 FM, inspiring Uganda. UBC. Good morning to you.
You're speaking to Ogama Victor.
Yes, Victor.
From Nasana.
Yes, from Nasana. Your concern, please.
I want mine is the question, I have been working with the certain company, China Water and the Fish Company.
Okay.
And they gave me a number, and I work with three different company.
Okay.
Different number.
Different number for NSSF? All right. Different numbers from different companies.
Different company.
All
What
right.
do I do?
Okay. Thank you so much, and greetings to the people of Nansana. Live and clear on UBC. We are broadcasting live on UBC Table, UBC Western Nile, and Magic One on 100 FM. We are getting a few callers. Our time is fast spent. 2, and we close this session of callers, and we get back the studio. Maybe if time allows, we shall get back to you. Let me get one. UBC.
Hello.
UBC.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
My name is Lucy Ekadu.
Lucy Ekadu from where?
I am calling from Uganda Journalists Union.
Yes.
I thank you for this very pertinent talk show.
All right.
And I thank our members, Moses and Agatha.
All right.
And our Honorable Member of Parliament for joining in.
Please.
But my concern is clearly there is a gap, there's a disconnect between NSSF and the people they are serving. Because the public is lost in translation when it comes to the role and the obligation of NSSF in terms of saving. Okay. Because every year we wait for the interest rate. In NSSF, we all wait to see how has our money appreciated and what is the interest rate? How does that interest accrue? So it's good that you are hosting our union members and they understand this concept, but I believe it's time for NSSF to engage the unions directly. I know they have a budget for communication and sensitization. I think the union can do it better than what they are doing. Not everyone can go to their portal and understand what they are doing there.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Most welcome and greetings to the people that serve Uganda Journalists Association. UBC, live and clear on 100 FM, that is Magic, Butebo FM, Western Nile. Hello? UBC?
How are you?
Fine, thank you. Your concern, please, and your name?
My name is Onen John Orama.
John Orama.
Yes, I'm here in Chebando.
Chebando, yes. Your concern, please?
Thank you for your show.
Please.
And to ask something about NSF. When I'm a worker and registered in the NSF, I'm a worker that registered me in the company. So how many months is supposed to give me permission to start to pay NSF?
Okay.
I want to know because that I am asked. I'm working with some company like 7 years. Then when I work, they chase me in the place of work.
Okay.
So why I cannot give my NSF? I'm not the one who refused to pay NSF. They are the one who stopped me. They made their rules. So
All right.
for me, what can I do now?
Okay, they are going to answer you. Our time is fast spent and people still raising their concerns. Allow me first hold here the callers and we get back to the studios to address some of these concerns. I'm going to start with you, Agatha. Ibrahim from Bukoto is appreciating you. Helen from Matuga says, how about those who lost their loved ones but they were saving with NSSF? Is there any help they can give the relatives and the concerned parties?
Modong from Kororo says he has been reporting some of the companies, but NSSF has not responded. What can he do? Gladys from Kamocha says the national IDs have become a problem. As someone having two names, different names on IDs, but is the same person. How can he or can she be helped to access money? Victor from Nansana says different numbers. Is the one who says different numbers. For him, he has different numbers from different companies. How can he be helped to access that money? Ruth Ekadu is from Uganda Journalists Association, thinking that NSSF has a disconnect between itself and its customers, who the beneficiaries in this case, and has concerns with the rate, the interest rate. And John Orara from Chebando says, how many months for someone start paying the NSSF? And also from Juma, who has the same opinions. Gladys, our time is fast spent. In a few seconds, if you can address some of such concerns, and Moses will add on. Agatha.
Thank you so much. I am very appreciative of the callers who have called in with issues. I'll start with the issue of companies not emitting money to NSSF. This is a very serious concern, and arising from those cases that have come to our attention, that is why the new amendment now has a penalty to have, if a company is got and it's not emitting the money, the company will be, they will have to pay a fine of 500 currency points. Each currency point is equivalent to 20,000, or imprisonment of 1 year, or both, depending. So here we want to work very closely with NSSF, and I know they are listening in, for them to be able to enforce these things. They have tried, and we also empower the workers also to send in those reports. Don't give up, because this is your money. You're missing out on something that would have helped you in the old age. So let's report these companies and have NSSF come in. I have seen NSSF coming into various companies. Maybe sometimes they don't get the information. They have various offices, and I know the person was calling, I think, from Kamocha, if I'm not mistaken. There's an office on Acacia Mall which can be very easily accessed with those complaints. Okay. So let's stand in these complaints. The other issue that was raised about someone getting the survivor's benefits in case a member died and had been saving with NSSF. These benefits, you should approach the office with the letters of administration of the estate. Then you'll fill some forms, and that money is easily accessible if you go through the procedures of sending the letters of administration. For the lady who had disabilities, a friend with disabilities, also still the same process. There are some forms that are filled, and also a medical form is required to prove that that person has disabilities, and this money will be paid. It's there. Please don't leave this money. This is the money they are telling us that is there in a suspense account, and they don't know what to use it, and it's a lot of money. It's there in billions. And the new law is saying if this money is not claimed within 7 years, it will be used in investments.
Our time is fast spent.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
Moses, would you add?
Thank you. I would add on Gladys' concern. First of all, Gladys is saying that one person did not go to school, but she used another person's documents to acquire a job. And when securing an ID, she used her personal particulars. That becomes difficult. The only solution that I can advise is that this person should get to a lawyer and assist her process the formal names by virtue of either they sign, I think, affidavits, and they are certified by some authorities in the legal system. That is the only way. Otherwise, if you have different names, then she won't access money until she has got that clarification. Then on the people who are not paying, but they have been reported, and otherwise, if you have reported to NSSF and no action, look for a union or look for National Organization of Trade Unions, and make your report there as well.
Okay.
On which particular office in NSSF did you report to and they did not take any action, so that the trade union, and if it is security organizations, your union is actually the Chairman General's Union, Transport and Amalgamated Workers Union. So you go to the union and file your report with them. They will assist you. I also wanted to hint on the issue was on new employees and how long does it take one to enroll with NSSF. There are two scenarios. You may join a company as a new person employed. It is supposed to be on your first salary. And when you enroll, you must also pay to NSSF. But sometimes the company does not inform NSSF, or the company does not enroll you immediately. If you don't have a number, so they will ask you to go to a nearby NSSF office and get enrolled. So you come to the human resource manager or the manager with your NSSF number, and they make that payment from the first salary. If you are a continuing member, upon submitting your papers, don't forget to submit a copy of your NSSF membership card, which has your number, so that on payment of your first salary, they pay. Okay. If somebody is not paying deliberately, then do the reporting as it requires. And finally, I want to provide some information still on the midterm access. Midterm access, just in seconds. Midterm access, the law requires that you must first have made 45 years of age, and also after working for contributing to NSS for 10 years. That is principle number one for the normal worker. Then if you are a person with a disability, if you are a worker with a disability, you can still access midterm when you make 40 years, not 45, and also after serving with the NSSF for 10 years continuously.
All right. Your last remarks, Moses?
My last remarks is to thank UBC and the listeners, and also urge NSSF to fast track the process to pay those who qualify. But also I know that we rushed them somehow to begin the process in the interest of the people that were waiting for this money. But they had better make necessary arrangements to advertise and inform, popularize this law to the users, because very many users don't know the provisions, don't know what is required of them. Even somebody who has served for 2 years, they are lining among the 9,000, and those are the people being rejected.
All right.
Yep. So it is important to provide information so that they lessen the number of cases of objections.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for listening in.
Most welcome. Agatha?
Yeah, my last remarks will start by answering a question of someone who asked about having multiple cards because of being with multiple employers. Yeah, you should go to the office with all your cards and harmonize them into one.
Okay.
Yes, this is an advice. You shouldn't register so many accounts in NSSF under the same name. So let's also have, wherever you go, you take your number and that number will be used.
Okay.
Regardless of the employee. I want also to send my advice or appeal to NSSF. Most of the questions here we are getting are because people are not informed. So they need to go ahead and do a lot of sensitization. I know they have that money for sensitization. Our workers need a lot of sensitization. As the unions, we are also going to do a lot of sensitization so that our workers don't miss out on their benefits.
Okay.
Thank you.
Most welcome, and we have reached to the end of Ground Zero.
On today's edition, we've been broadcasting live on 98 FM, UBC Radio. We're also live and clear on our sister radio stations, UBC Butebu FM, Western Nile FM, and Magic 1 on 100 FM. We've been talking about NSSF midterm benefits, looking at the implications on social protections of Ugandans. In the studios, it was a privilege having Namirembe Agatha Arembe, who is the chairperson of Uganda Public Employees Union, and Moses Mauku is the General Secretary Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union. We also had Honorable Byakatonda Abdul, who is the MP for Workers. Ampaire Amon Obtega is my name, and this is Ground Zero. We thank you, all our callers. I want to start with Juma. We appreciate your time. Emmanuel from Mokono, Oma from Botebo, Abel from Mokono, Omoding from Kororo, Ibrahim from Bokoto, Heren from Matuga. It has been a very big privilege having you on UBC Ground Zero. Gladys from Kamocha, Victor from Nansana, Ruth Ekadu from Uganda Journalists Association, John Orara, and many others that were part of Ground Zero today, and you, the dear listener, wherever you've been listening from, and our online audience. Until next time, same station, same program, a different topic, and we wish you all the best from all of us at UBC. We wish you all the best for God and my country. Amon Ortega, I sign out.
That was Ground Zero Season 2, a production of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, inspiring Uganda. It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was.